Are you feeling the pressure of deciding what your year has been like and unsure of what to write down for your 2026 resolutions? No worries, I got you. Today on Get This, let's unpack 2025, the chaos, the wins, the weird moments, and then talk about what 2026 might have in store for us. First things first, the highlight of 2025 was obviously the launch of Pakistan TV Digital, and if you still haven't liked or subscribed, you'll be missing out big time in 2026. But then there was politics, turbulence, and yes, some pretty strange global pop culture moments as well, like Labubu dolls going viral and major heists. But the overall vibe? Unpredictable, stressful, and in many places, wary. Globally, 2025 was one of the hottest years on record. We're talking scorching heat that caused wildfires in Europe, droughts in Africa, and deadly rains in Asia. And like many other countries facing climate extremes, Pakistan also spent much of 2025 grappling with devastating floods, impacts made even harder by regional water tensions, including India's suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty mechanisms, which added strain to an already fragile climate and water security situation. Even then, Pakistan stayed on the front lines, calling for climate justice at COP30, arguing that developed nations have failed vulnerable countries by prioritizing their own interests, while those least responsible suffer the most from climate change. At the same time, global headlines were dominated by topics like artificial intelligence, which became even more ingrained in daily life and economic strategy, with debates about jobs, ethics, and regulation exploding everywhere. Bitcoin and crypto markets made record highs and dramatic swings, partly driven by bold US policy shifts. The assassination of political figures like Charlie Kirk stirred deep debates about political violence and polarization. On the other hand, a whole lot of memes came to life thanks to his wife, Erica Kirk. And then New York City made history by electing its first Muslim immigrant-born mayor, Zohran Mamdani, who was applauded worldwide for staying true to his democratic socialist values, boldly challenging Donald Trump when needed, yet still managing to impress him at the White House. He's even better looking in person, said the president after meeting him. But of course, conflict remained at the heart of 2025. The Gaza genocide entered its second year with widespread civilian displacement, famine warnings, and devastating infrastructure destruction. A ceasefire was negotiated in October, but violence and the humanitarian crisis continue as Israel persists in restricting aid, blocking dozens of international relief groups from operating, and leaving families with too little food, medicine, and shelter amid winter storms. There was an escalation in the Middle East as well, including repeated strikes involving Iran, Israel, and the US that had global officials worried about broader regional spillover. And then the ongoing war in Ukraine entered its fourth year with heavy fighting, drone warfare, and stalled diplomacy. Sudan's civil conflict continued, where paramilitary groups caused one of the worst humanitarian crises on the continent and massive displacement. And just as we thought that we'd had enough, the last few days of 2025 also saw an escalation in US military actions, from airstrikes against Islamic State militants in northwest Nigeria in coordination with Abuja, to reported strikes on dock facility in Venezuela as Washington ramped up pressure on Nicolas Maduro's government amid broader Caribbean security operations. In a controversial move, Israel became the first country in the world to officially recognize Somaliland as an independent state and triggered protests from dozens of African and Muslim-majority countries that warned that it could destabilize the Horn of Africa. And in East Asia, China's military conducted its largest drills around Taiwan yet, live fire exercises and stimulated blockades involving aircraft, naval assets, and missiles, sparking concern from the UK, Australia, and other nations over the risk of miscalculation. These were not side stories, they were signals of a world still struggling to find peace, justice, and stability. But now let's zoom in on home ground. Pakistan didn't just watch global shifts, it started shaping conversations. Let's take a look at some major moments. Pakistan's leadership used the Pakistan-India-May conflict to demonstrate strategic engagement and influence global dialogue. Strategic partnerships with countries like Saudi Arabia and expanded ties with China helped strengthen defense and economic cooperation, including projects under CPEC. And high-profile visits from leaders around the Muslim world highlighted renewed trust in Pakistan's regional role. We also improved relations with Bangladesh, including high-level visits, agreements to revive old connections, enhanced trade and economic cooperation after years of frosty ties. Economically, Pakistan made real progress in 2025. Inflation eased, foreign reserves improved, and the country recorded a rare current accounts surplus, while reforms like the long-delayed privatization of PIA finally moved forward, with international partners including the IMF recognizing the momentum. Security remained challenging, with incidents like the Jafar Express train hijacking underscoring ongoing threats, but counter-terrorism efforts intensified, including foiling an attack on Cadet College Wana under Operation Azm-e-Istikham. At the same time, Pakistan continued engaging Afghanistan through dialogue and coordination, signaling a long-term approach to regional stability built on security and cooperation, even if the response from Afghanistan has not been cooperative so far. Pakistan also repeatedly raised concerns in 2025 over terrorism linked to the TTP, accusing India of backing proxy militant networks to destabilize the country, an allegation that New Delhi denies, but one Islamabad says is backed by intelligence and ground realities. So, what's coming in 2026? Globally, the year ahead promises plenty of spectacle, from a historic return to the moon as NASA's Artemis 2 mission plans a crewed lunar flyby for the first time in over 50 years, to growing concerns over whether the AI boom is brilliance or a bubble. And there's a lot to look forward to in terms of sports as well. The Winter Olympics in Italy's Dolomites and the biggest football World Cup ever, which features 48 teams across the US, Mexico, and Canada. And maybe, just maybe, it's also the year the world sees fewer conflicts and less war than it currently seems to be headed for. And with that, Happy New Year and see you in 2026.